What's up, Dolphins fans? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. I know it's been a while since we talked to you guys. There's been a lot more interesting things going on with South Florida sports, obviously with the Panthers and the Heat in the finals. And before we get into anything, drop your predictions for those two series down below, as that's what I'm mostly paying attention to. If not for this news that I'm talking about here today, I was going to make a prediction on both series. So let me know how you think the Heat and the Panthers are going to do in their finals down below in the comments. But yeah, we've been watching that. We haven't been paying attention to the Dolphins a lot. But news today that I thought was somewhat interesting and pretty big in terms of what the Dolphins team is going to look like next year. And according to Armando Salguero, I think I pronounced that last name correctly, Vikings running back Dalvin Cook has chosen either the Miami Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills. So it's not 100% certain that he is going to be a Miami Dolphin. It does look like he is going to be cut from the Vikings after not necessarily his best season. He's coming off a season where he had 1,173 yards, 8 touchdowns, averaged 4.4 yards per carry. And we've seen a regression from Dalvin Cook. Now I've paid a little bit more attention to Dalvin Cook over the last 3 years or so, just off the basis I've had him in fantasy football pretty much every single season over the last 3 or 4 years. I think last year was actually the first year I didn't have him because I went into the season with a kind of a bad feeling about him. He had started to drop off in those explosive runs that we're used to seeing from him, and he really started to lose some efficiency. Last year when the two teams played, he was held just over 2 yards a carry or so before he broke off that long touchdown run, which pretty much sealed the game for the Vikings down here in Miami. But there is now a very realistic chance that A, he does get cut, and B, he ends up as a Miami Dolphin. Now, I am definitely a little wary about where he is in his career. Is he following a similar trajectory that Ezekiel Elliott has with the Dallas Cowboys, where he gets paid, and then we see towards the end of that contract he loses that fight, he loses that fire, and he's not the same running back as when he first signed that mega contract. I don't think the Dolphins would bring him in on a massive deal. I think we're looking at a 2-year deal, around $6 or $7 million a year. But just where he is now as a running back is definitely worth questioning. Is he still somebody who's capable of being a top dog, a leading horse in a backfield? And the Dolphins backfield that, by committee, on paper, is looking not bad. And the reports that I've seen out of training camp so far suggest that Devon Achane has looked really good. The third-round pick for the Dolphins this year. He is a very different running back than Dalvin Cook. Both are undersized, but Achane is very undersized. And the Dolphins have seemingly been really good at using his speed and his ability to use open space. So a backfield currently that has Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Devon Achane, pretty much everybody from last year, Gaskin and Ahmed, all coming back as well. So it is a pretty packed running back crew, but there's certainly not one of those guys that really signifies that they're the guy. We're going to assume it's going to be Raheem Mostert when the season comes around, that Raheem Mostert is going to be the one, Jeff Wilson, Devon Achane, and then the rest will sort itself out. However, the gap between Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, between potentially Dalvin Cook and Raheem Mostert, assuming Dalvin Cook is at least good enough, is at least comparable enough to what he once was as a running back, that's a pretty significant drop-off. And the Dolphins did not get a lot of help last year from their running backs, whether that be just from a lack of going to the well or just the ability alone. A game that sticks out very much to me is when Jeff Wilson got his opportunity as the number one running back against the Houston Texans. He had barely over 40 yards against, at the time, like the third or fourth rushing defense in the entire league. It is clear the Dolphins need to be able to go to their running backs and get some yards on the ground, especially when teams started to figure Tua out at the end of last year, started to figure the Dolphins' offense out, which was brand new. So it made sense that the early part of the season, teams didn't know what the Dolphins were going to do because there was nothing on paper. First-year play caller with McDaniel, and caught a lot of teams by surprise. Second half of the season, especially against teams like the 49ers, against the Chargers, we saw some of the weaknesses of the offense unfold. And when you can't go to the running, when you can't go to running the ball, you then see teams tend towards what you strengthen at, where your strength is passing the ball. And that for the Dolphins was middle of the field, 15 to 20 yards down the field. That was the sweet spot. And teams eventually started to figure that out. When you do not respect the other team's rushing attack, you can push your linebackers further back the field. Instead of standing between 7 to 10 yards, you can stand them 13 to 15 yards or 10 to 13 yards. And then their first instinct is to backpedal instead of come up to the line of scrimmage. That takes away so much of your passing lanes, timing routes. It really messes with that. But if you have a solid rushing attack, that is just going to open up the entire middle of the field because the linebackers have to make decisions. They have to be honest. They have to respect the rushing attack. And if Dalvin Cook can come in and, again, just be good enough of what the running back we've seen him be, that would be a major addition to the Miami Dolphins, especially plucking him out of the grasp from the team that you're trying to dethrone in the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. I would do this. I would do this 100%. Tua is still on his rookie deal. Look at all the teams making the Super Bowl. Chiefs just got out of Mahomes' rookie contract, but they won one with him previously. Jalen Hurts, the Eagles, they're loading up everywhere while he's still cheap for another 2 years, or actually, this might be his last year of being cheap. That's what teams are doing. Teams are going all in around their rookie deal quarterbacks. Tua's got a couple more years left, and then he gets expensive, assuming he stays as the Dolphins quarterback. I say go all in, get as much talent as you possibly can on the field, and getting Dalvin Cook, while he is not the running back that he once was, is still a very good running back, and I believe would immediately step in and be the best running back in the Dolphins running back core. Do you want Dalvin Cook? Would you be sad to see him go to the Buffalo Bills? I know I certainly would. Again, I'm not a massive believer in him. I definitely understand why the Vikings don't want to pay that large salary to him. He's definitely regressed as a runner. He's had less explosive runs. He's been less effective between the tackles, as well as already being a little short in stature. There are definitely limitations to his game compared to what he used to be. However, I still think there's a really good running back in there, somebody that would really help the Miami Dolphins. So I personally would love to see this happen. Looks like he's down to 2 teams. Looks like he's going to be cut between the Dolphins and the Bills. He's from down here. Let's bring him home. Let me know what you think about the potential Dalvin Cook signing, as well as the Miami Heat starting tonight against the Denver Nuggets. Let me know how you think that series is going to go. Been confident up to this point, more or less. I'm going to keep sticking with the Heat. I got the Heat in 6, and I got the Panthers. I'm gonna say Panthers in 5 or 6. I feel better about the Panthers than I do the Heat. We've seen the Panthers just steamroll their competition. The Heat, it does concern me going against a team where I think the Nuggets can actually thrive against the 2-3 zone, which has been the specialty of the Miami Heat. You put Jokic in the middle and let him facilitate or go to work, and that definitely concerns me. But going to ride it till the wheels fall off. I feel good about both our South Florida teams. Now it's the Dolphins' turn when the season rolls around, and part of that could be bringing this man on the screen into the fold. Make sure to like, subscribe. Again, get in the comments. Let me know what you think about the series. Let me know what you think about Dalvin Cook. Everybody, make sure you have a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody.